youtube.com/sound.
Hey, what's up, Legion? My name is Sal, and this is another Expedition Log. Today, we're taking a detour as we approach the final leg of the ExLog Phase 7 Cincinnati tour, visiting a dead mall in Piqua, Ohio that has seen many years of success, only to fall into the hands of the most vile man to exist in retail development, Mike Kohan. I'd like to thank all of you sincerely for continuing to stick with me through the years as I navigate some pretty heavy stuff going on in my own personal orbit. Between family health scares, packing up my house and moving to a new state, my day job demanding way more of me than normal, and a super busy concert schedule with solo orchestral performances, 2024 was probably the most difficult year I can remember enduring in many recent years. But when we're going through hell, the only way is to keep going, which I did, and I'm back to finally focus my energy on this series. So please keep an eye on this channel and all of my social media for tons of updates. You'll especially want to join my Discord server, home of DMod, to chat with me in real time. Just head to discord.gg/DMod to join. I'd especially like to thank my patrons and elite explorers for the continued support. All of you rock, and there really aren't enough words in the English language for me to fully show you my appreciation. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I've got so much more content in my backlog that's going to cover the next few years, and I am planning other trips out to film more stuff, so you've got me for the foreseeable future. And I can't wait to get all of this stuff produced and show each and every one of you some of the most amazing places across the country. The expedition we're going on today, however, takes us to a mall with militant security, hired to veil Kohan's misconduct. They had eyes on me the entire time, making this one of the hardest malls I've ever filmed. So for your consideration, I'd like you all to come take a walk with me through the Miami Valley Center Mall, known today as the Piqua Center in Piqua, Ohio. But first, a word from our sponsor. The sheer anguish consumers went through in the 90s purchasing a 6-pound laptop with an 8-inch screen, 4 megabytes of RAM, and a 250 megabyte hard drive for $3,000 with zero clue how to use the thing, followed by a rad television spot for the Miami Valley Center Mall. Enjoy.
Computers are supposed to make life easier. About 1 in 3 American households has bought that theory and purchased a PC. But what they didn't tell you is that life does not get easier right away. For many newcomers, PC stands for pain and confusion.
Jamie Gold is about to buy her first computer. She hardly knows where to start.
How do you turn this one on? What does the 4 megabyte memory mean versus...
Home PC sales are now exceeding business sales. Up 25% last year and still accelerating. Jamie Gold spent $2,800 buying into the sales pitch that computers are now easy to use.
This is the world's easiest personal computer.
It makes you powerful.
I just think I want to plug it in first and use it. Installation disc number 1, I don't know which the interface cable is. What the hell is a power module? I'm not dumb, hold on. There's nothing that looks like this. I don't hear it.
It's printing way too large and I don't know why.
For years, phone and help centers were used by technically inclined users. Now, 80% of IBM's calls come from so-called newbies.
I'm having trouble with the modem. When I start, there are no beeps or anything.
Many callers expressed dismay that cyberspace seems more like the Twilight Zone.
Half of new users said they were ready to throw their computers out the window out of sheer frustration.
I have no idea what this disk drive is. No idea.
No wonder the book series Computers for Dummies has sold 18 million copies.
See the troubleshooting information in section 5. Okay.
By 1998, half of American households will have computers. Jamie Gold swears she'll have crossed the Great Divide by then.
How the hell do you do this?
Swears a lot, in
I want
fact.
to kill and what I don't.
Reed Galen, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Computer. I don't know which the interface cable is to the printer's interface port. Well, the picture shows it here. I hope one of these is going to fit and one isn't. That one probably does. If I'm about to blow anything up, I know y'all would let me know, right? I hope I'm not jamming something and I shouldn't. No, that's not it.
The Miami Valley Center Mall has it all under one roof. From big-name stores you can count on every day to unique small shops that meet your specific needs. From delicious dining to first-run movies and first-class accommodations. The Miami Valley Center Mall is the Upper Miami Valley's capital for shopping, dining, cinemas, and lodging. Come experience it all at the Miami Valley Center Mall, conveniently located on US Route 36, just seconds off of I-75 at exit 82 in Piqua.
Welcome to the Miami Valley Center Mall, known these days as the Piqua Center. I filmed this footage back on June 25, 2021, as my second stop in my expedition around the greater Cincinnati area. Earlier that day, I met up with two of my favorite people on the planet, Ron and Kristen from Unicom Productions, who invited me to join them in exploring the abandoned Upper Valley Mall. Towards the end of our tour, Kristen, all-around fantastic person and VP of the Dead Malls of Discord server, suggested that I head over to Piqua to film the Miami Valley Center Mall. She said that it was going downhill fast, and that closure and inevitable redevelopment were right around the corner. So I took off from Upper Valley at about 4 p.m. and got here in just over a half hour to film the footage you're about to watch. Whenever I get to a location that I'm trying to film for this series, I'll do an initial sweep without my camera to scope out security and potential blind spots so I know what to expect along the way. On this trip, though, I walked into the food court entrance where the hotel is located and immediately spotted the security guard staring down every single person that walked past him. He had laser focus, and it looked like he just wanted to kick out everyone that was doing something that he didn't approve of. This was super hard mode. There were quite a few videos of this mall already published on YouTube by the time I visited here, so I figured security would be on alert, but I didn't know that they would be this alert. The guard looked directly at me when I first entered the food court, so I decided to play it safe since this was going to be hard mode. My plan was to go in with my Osmo first, at the other end of the mall where we just were, and as I got to the food court, I would purchase a candle or something at Bath & Body Works, and then grab a slice of pizza and a Coke to sit down and just survey what the security guard patterns might be. Turned out he would also have a sentry working alongside him. There was a janitor in a blue shirt who would look around for malfeasance, reporting anything suspicious to the guard. You'll see what I'm talking about a bit later in the footage, but this mall does have some crazy interesting history, so let's dive into the historical narrative. On Thursday, April 16, 1987, the Piqua Planning Commission approved a zoning request for a new mall and hotel to be constructed and managed by a Piqua-based development firm called the Mall Company, and to be funded and owned by Cleveland-based Mid-America Management Corporation. A few days later, on Monday, April 20, the zoning request was escalated to final approval by the Piqua City Commission and was unanimously approved. Partner in the Mall Company, Dean Smith, then announced that they would be traveling to Las Vegas so they could attend the International Council of Shopping Centers convention in May to wine and dine prospective tenants. Their new mall would be called the Miami Valley Mall. About a half year later, on the morning of Wednesday, October 14, 1987, founder and managing partner for the Mall Company, Robert G. Spruill, announced that the mall had booked all 3 senior anchors that they had planned, along with a cinema and a 126-room hotel, which were all to be built on a 60-acre tract of land at the intersection of US Route 36 and Interstate 75. The entire project would cost $30 million, with $20 million allocated for the mall and $10 million for the hotel. 1 year and a month after the mall company sent their minions out to the wild Las Vegas bacchanal to court anchors and tenants, on September 7, 1988, they would celebrate the grand opening for their mall with anchors Elder Beerman, JCPenney, and a Hills, along with a Comfort Inn hotel and a 6-screen cinema. Hills would open ahead of the mall in mid-August, featuring a meet and greet with Michael Damian of the CBC television daytime drama The Young and the Restless. Mr. Damian's appearance included free autographed pictures, but only in limited quantities. A special drawing was also held for a free dinner date with the soap opera actor, with entries due by August 26. The dinner date would be held on September 3 at Jay's Restaurant in the Oregon District in Dayton. JCPenney would open just a few days after the Hills festivities on August 31. With these two anchors open, the third and final anchor, an Elder Beerman, would open on September 7, which happened to be the same day the new mall would celebrate its own grand opening and ribbon-cutting ceremony. Now adding the word center to its title, bringing the Miami Valley Center Mall to Troy and Piqua residents in and around Miami County.
Put Elder Beerman's 2-day sale on your list of important things to do this weekend. Save on new season merchandise this Friday and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m.
I've covered quite a few malls in my series, and if you've been following me for a while now, you've heard of some grand opening mall festivities around the country, ranging from celebrity meet and greets to vacation drawings to fashion shows and famous athletes cutting the ribbon themselves. These festivities are usually limited to 1 or 2 days for a couple of hours each to ring in the occasion. But at the Miami Valley Center Mall, they had 5 days of events planned for literally every hour that the mall would be open from September 7th through September 11th. I won't list everything because we'll be here all day. But some of the grand opening festivities included multiple daily shows with Dandy the Clown, nighttime square dancing, performances by the U.S. Air Force Band, more random circus clowns and jugglers roaming the concourse, the Kettering Banjo Society, and of course, a drawing for 2 weekend vacations. The mall company really did go all out to show Miami County residents just how awesome their new mall was, and locals were really digging this place. As with most malls opened during the 1980s, the Miami Valley Center Mall was no exception and was met with a warm reception from its local populace, along with a healthy influx of tenants, bringing the mall's occupancy close to 100% in just under 7 months. By April of 1989, the mall saw a few new tenants occupy their inline storefronts, such as KB Toys, Dental Care One, Super X Drugs, a dollar store, 10 Below, and O'Toole's Restaurant. With the property showing a robust base of shoppers and steady traffic, Carolyn Harding, who was the marketing director for the mall company, held a news conference on March 29 to announce the construction of an accompanying strip mall on the Miami Valley Center Mall's out parcel to be completed by June of '89. Anchoring the strip would be an Aldi's grocery store, a TCBY frozen yogurt joint, and Boot West's, which sold Western-themed clothing. They also had plans and ongoing negotiations to lease spaces to a financial institution, a fabric center, dry cleaners, a video rental place, and fashion stores, according to Tom Schaefer, who was the leasing agent for the mall company. The strip mall, named Riverside Place, would open right on time, and it still exists to this day. A few months after the strip mall opened at the Miami Valley Center Mall, Birmingham, Alabama-based construction company Brizza Builders, Inc., who served as general contractor for the mall, sued the mall company for the amount of $17,909 due to unpaid material and labor costs. The two parties settled it out of court amicably, and it was around this time in January of 1990 when the 6-screen cinema was purchased by Cinemark, who was then hiring as part of the rebranding process. With both the mall and strip mall fully occupied and enjoying heavy traffic daily, the Miami Valley Center Mall would coast through the early 1990s without skipping a beat. The mall company was even looking to capitalize on the misfortunes of their local competition, when in September of 1996, JCPenney announced that they would be vacating their space at the Salem Mall, which prompted the marketing team at the Miami Valley Center Mall to publicly relay plans to bring in a fourth anchor. They'd been in negotiations with both Lazarus and Dillard's to construct a new department store, and Elder Bierman had even expressed public interest in expanding their own footprint at the mall. The mall company was getting aggressive in the local markets, and they were in this for the long haul.
5-3. That's the score. One bite. Everybody knows the rules.
By the way, I know I gave this pizza a thumbs up. I was starving. I hadn't eaten all day. But it really was super, super mid. The cheese was barely cooked, the sauce was really sweet, and the crust was doughy, undercooked, and just not good. The only reason I got it was to sit and look at the security guard and janitor, who you can see standing right there watching his soap operas, so I can plan my trip around the mall. The pizza was a means to an end, that's all. I wouldn't really recommend it, if they're still open. I'm not sure. By August 20 of 1998, Sears Roebuck & Company announced plans to construct a 100,400 square foot single-level department store at the Miami Valley Center Mall, which would serve as its fourth senior anchor on the north end of the mall. 1 year later, the Hills Company was in the midst of liquidating their final 20 stores, which were open in Ohio. And in September of 1999, the Hills space at Miami Valley Center Mall was converted to an Ames. Then 1 month later, on October 30, Sears would finally celebrate their own grand opening ceremony on the south end of the mall rather than the north end, but would also welcome a new 25,000 square foot concourse, which had been open to the public since August of that year. At the time, Sears was rolling out an intense $4 billion construction, expansion, and remodeling program across the country. And with its new store now open at the Miami Valley Center Mall, the shopping center's footprint was now just over 500,000 square feet. The Miami Valley Center Mall carefully dipped its toes into the waters of the new millennium with all anchor spaces intact and a 96% occupancy. But then on August 24, 2001, Ames Department Stores Inc. announced that they would be reorganizing under Chapter 11 of the U.S. Bankruptcy Code in the Southern District of New York. Ames stated that all 400 stores would still remain open during the bankruptcy proceedings, and that they secured agreements with 2 credit facilities to continue serving their customers, paying their employees, and reimbursing their suppliers for merchandise received after the reorganization filing. Later that year, by December 6, Ames announced that they'd be closing their Columbus distribution center along with 54 stores, including the location at the Miami Valley Center Mall, with mall manager Peggy Henthorne stating that the store should be expected to close by February or March of 2002 after a brief liquidation sale, which left the mall with a vacant anchor tenant space for the first time in 14 years. On February 21 of 2004, the Miami Valley Center Mall would host the Miami County Division of the American Heart Association's annual Heart Walk, featuring disgraced sandwich celebrity Jared Fogle, who would be signing autographs at the mall after the walk. I'm sure his presence helped raise tens of thousands of dollars at the time, but those autographs definitely aged poorly. Then later that year, the former Hills-turned-Ames space would be newly occupied by a Stephen Barry's University Sportswear store, which opened on October 6, 2004. Over the next few years, tenants would shuffle around, but the mall would retain a healthy occupancy. Then in early 2008, it was announced that the 6-screen cinema would be shuttered. However, on December 12 of that year, an 8-screen multiplex Cinemark opened with modern stadium seating as a 500,000 square foot outparcel to the Miami Valley Center Mall. The featured showing at the time was a remake of the classic 1951 The Day the Earth Stood Still. About a month and a half later, the Stephen Barrys shuttered their location on January 31, once again leaving the mall without a full senior anchor loadout. As the mall entered into its legal age in the 2010s, it was still flying under the radar, with only one anchor vacant, but inline tenants were beginning to leave the mall exponentially. While the mall was falling in occupancy, an effort was being made outside at the Riverside Place strip mall when in March of 2014, a new Buffalo Wings and Rings would open in an effort to drive more traffic to the area. About 1 year later, a Dunham Sports would open in the former Hills-turned-Ames-turned-Stephen Barry space on Saturday, March 28, 2015. Over the next couple of years, mall management would continue their desperate attempt to drive new organic growth to their ailing mall, grasping for shoppers with events like a series of Elvis tribute concerts, Alzheimer's fundraisers padded with the extra benefit of cheap hot dogs sponsored by the local American Legion chapter. They had sidewalk sales outside the mall and an autograph signing with Ohio State college football player Dontre Wilson, along with an art show featuring works from the Shelby County School District. Now, I'm sure locals could appreciate all this stuff. But coming from purely a documentarian and a research standpoint, none of this stuff sounds like it would drive any meaningful long-term growth at the mall. And as a matter of fact, it did exactly the opposite. So in a second here, my plan was to go down this corridor to try to find a way into the mall guts. But as I was going towards the doors, the security guard and janitor popped out of nowhere, scared the hell out of me, and I had to FO, back to the food court. Later in 2018, Elder Beerman shuttered its store at Miami Valley Center Mall on August 26 as part of a Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing. And then shortly after this, Sears had their own Chapter 11 bankruptcy in October, announcing closure of 200 stores as part of their reorganization process. With the closure of two major senior anchor tenants, the Miami Valley Center Mall was left only with Dunham's, Sports, and JCPenney as anchors, with inline tenancy at an all-time low, far below 45% occupancy. Because of this mass exodus in such a short time, the valuation for the mall property had fallen drastically, and as a result, the mall company put the Miami Valley Center Mall up for sale, entertaining an open bidding structure from potential buyers. There were very few serious offers for the mall. But as with countless malls that we've seen tank in value in the late 2010s, none other than chief scumbag retail rat king Mike Kohan would swoop in with a barely acceptable offer for the mall, which the mall company accepted. Kohan purchased the mall, including all out parcels, such as the cinema and strip mall, in November of 2019 for $3.234 million. The hotel remained owned by the parent company for Comfort Inn. The events of 2020 came and went, and I don't want to talk about it. Except for the loss of JCPenney here at the Miami Valley Center Mall, which closed in December of 2020. But in the summer of 2021, I showed up to film this place against the whims of its militant security and janitorial staff. Now that I've done my research on the place, it makes sense that they were such tight asses about filming, because later that year, Kohan refinanced the mall at a value of just over $5 million to put some extra cash in his dirty pockets. Surely the banks wouldn't want to see any videos on the internet of how Kohan's mall was actually performing, as I can guarantee you, he sweet-talked them into granting the new mortgage based on complete fabrication about the actual state of the mall. This was a predictable and total slimeball move to scrape the bottom of a poor dead mall barrel, just to make a selfish, greasy profit, which was Kohan's entire operating model, that jerk-off. By this time, the mall only had the Dunham Sports as their sole anchor, with just a handful of stores operating inside the courtyards and concourse.
Hi, everybody. Do any of you want to beat the bitch out of Mike Kohan as much as me, that scumbag? He keeps getting away with this bullshit, and I'm getting good and goddamn sick and tired of his greasy maneuvers or whatever. I hope all of you got pleasured nicely with this tour of the Miami Valley Center Piqua Mall, Center Mall in Ohio, whatever the F it's called. And that security guard and his girlfriend can go choke on some pizza crust for all I care, those bastards. I bet they retired to New Jersey, those good-for-nothing suckers. Sal's probably going to ship me out to the Town Mall Galleria Mall next, where we had to deal with another security mall cop poser that kicked us out, but we got back there a couple years later and showed that bitch who's better. You're all so pretty and beautiful, and I love seeing you all here, and the chapter Sal premieres, and I'm watching you. Bitches, don't say nothing nasty on your Discord or the social media websites. I'm gonna fire you from the internet. Anyway, I gotta go take a big shit, so I think I'm gonna see you at the Town Mall Galleria soon. I hope you're all there. I'm gonna go now. It's an emergency. Bye!
God, Marna's mouth just gets worse every time. 2 years after Kohan lined his pockets with the blood money of yet another dying mall that he refused to resuscitate, the titan of retail terror sold the mall for just over $5 million to Piqua Investment Partners LLC, which is a partner between Piqua-based Bruns Construction and the Minnesota-based Caspian Group. After the sale, the new owners rebranded the Miami Valley Center Mall to simply the Piqua Center. As most venerable developers during the transaction of a mall do, Piqua investment partners announced their initial thoughts and tentative plans for the mall. They believed that there was a need for more affordable space for specialty vendors, new food concepts, and more modern-day offerings to a younger generation of shoppers, such as a distillery, brewery, a gun range, golf simulator, pickleball courts, and even a massive bouncy castle place for kids. By March of 2024, the new owners actually came through with some of their redevelopment plans. The plans called for the reimagining of the mall, with 86,000 square feet dedicated to new entertainment and dining offerings, and 192,000 square feet which would see new retail and boutique tenants. The remainder of the space would be repurposed eventually for warehousing and e-commerce. Later in March of 2024, a super rad amusement park called Hero Day opened in the space that formerly held the original cinema. Hero Day features gigantic inflatable playgrounds, obstacle courses, a basketball court where you can do slam dunks, a zip line, dodgeball, and ninja courts, and a ball pit with over 125,000 balls. There was even an overhead mezzanine area where concerned parents could watch in amazement or anxiety as their kids trained to become America's next ninja or something. It really does sound like a fun place. As of the publication of this ExLog in June of 2024, the new owners had lined up leasing agreements for the mall that would bring it up to a 70 to 80% occupancy, which included the Smileback Training Center offering lessons in boxing and kickboxing, along with grappling and self-defense. A Do-It-Best Hardware was scheduled to open, along with Las Marias, a new Mexican restaurant next to Dunham Sports, which featured both indoor and outdoor seating. They'd also lined up warehousing space leasing agreements with RSC Construction, Glasgow, and others to fill the spaces formerly occupied by Sears and Elder Beerman. I was pretty surprised when I learned of all the positive movement that the new owners at the Piqua Center were making. This seems to be a gentle retirement for a once thriving mall, giving the existing structure a new life and purpose in its golden years. I'd like to thank all of you for watching my video. While this mall isn't necessarily my favorite in terms of looks, the story gives me such a rush of hope for the future of malls. It's incredibly rare to find a mall that dies, falls into Kohan's grip, and then pulls out with a new owner who takes the mall to newer and more modern success. If any of you out in the Piqua area hear of more news at this mall, please hit me up on any one of my social media platforms to let me know. You can either comment down below or reach me on Instagram, my own Facebook page called Quite Studios, along with a new community page that I created called the Dead Mall Archives, which all of you can submit your own media and mall stories to. I'm also fairly active on X, but the best way to get my attention is through my Discord server, home of DMod. Just head to discord.gg/DMod to join. I also now have an active P.O. box down here in Virginia, which was pretty much the final step that I needed in order to get my merch lined up and ready to go. So while I have threatened to do merch in the past, now I really mean it. So please keep an eye out on all the social media over the next few weeks for an actual official merch announcement. It's coming, I promise. If any of you want to send me either a nice letter or a super toxic nasty gram, you can find my P.O. box down in the description below. All mail is welcome, and I only ask that you let me know on my social media when and if you send me something so I know to check for it. I'll be back soon with ExLog 123, covering the now shuttered Town Mall Galleria in Middletown, Ohio. But until then, please stay safe out there, Legion. Be kind to yourself and others, take care, and have a fantastic day.
Computers are supposed to make life easier. About 1 in 3 American households has bought that theory and purchased a PC. But what they didn't tell you is that life does not get easier right away. For many newcomers, PC stands for pain and confusion.
Jamie Gold is about to buy her first computer. She hardly knows where to start.
How do you turn this one on? What does the 4 megabyte memory mean versus...
Home PC sales are now exceeding business sales, up 25% last year and still accelerating. Jamie Gold spent $2,800 buying into the sales pitch that computers are now easy to use.
This is the world's easiest personal computer.
It makes you powerful.
I just think I want to plug it in first and use it. Installation disc number 1, I don't know which the interface cable is. What the hell is a power module? I'm not dumb, hold on. There's nothing that looks like this. I don't hear it.
It's printing way too large, and I don't know why.
For years, phone and help centers were used by technically inclined users. Now, 80% of IBM's calls come from so-called newbies.
I'm having trouble with the modem. When I start, there are no beeps or anything.
Many callers expressed dismay that cyberspace seems more like the Twilight Zone.
Half of new users said they were ready to throw their computers out the window out of sheer frustration.
I have no idea what this disk drive is. No idea.
No wonder the book series Computers for Dummies has sold 18 million copies.
See the troubleshooting information in section 5. Okay.
By 1998, half of American households will have computers. Jamie Gold swears she'll have crossed the Great Divide by then.
How the hell do you do this?
Swears a lot, in
I
fact.
want to kill and what I don't.
Reed Galen, CBS News, Los Angeles.
I don't know which the interface cable is to the printer's interface port. Well, the picture shows it here. I hope one of these is going to fit and one isn't. That one probably does. If I'm about to blow anything up, I know y'all would let me know, right? I hope I'm not jamming something and I shouldn't. No, that's not it.
The Miami Valley Center Mall has it all under one roof. From big-name stores you can count on every day to unique small shops that meet your specific needs. From delicious dining to first-run movies and first-class accommodations. The Miami Valley Center Mall is the Upper Miami Valley's capital for shopping, dining, cinemas, and lodging. Come experience it all at the Miami Valley Center Mall, conveniently located on U.S. Route 36, just seconds off of I-75 at exit 82 in Piqua.